Konami has put out many games over the past 20 years under their Bemani series. Bemani fans are always looking for the next hot rhythm game from Konami, and seeing new games in testing or previews at JPO or at arcades always generates discussion. However, every once in a while we have a game that doesn't stick the landing. I want to preface this video by saying that this is about a game that never released, though people have played it and there are gameplay videos. Normally I wouldn't put a game that never released at all into this series, however for this one I felt like there was enough information to cover it, and I figured it would be interesting to do at least one cancelled game. Enter Otoiroha. Appearing at JPO 2016, it was revealed alongside the also new at the time Nostalgia. Hilariously, Nostalgia was actually supposed to be the smaller of the two reveals at this JPO, but Nostalgia is still around today. Funny how that works out. The game's theme was very inspired by traditional Japanese themes, and exemplifying this was the game's mascot, Hinode-chan, Goddess of the Sun. The Otoiroha cabinet has two sets of inputs. On the main part of the machine, there are 4 clear buttons for the standard scrolling notes. The input window is aligned with the clear button, so that when the note is inside the button, you press it. The other input type is the Otoiroha sliders. On the sides of the machine, there's 2 large sliders that have a device that can be pushed up and down the curved tracks on the sides of the machine. These are used for tracking inputs that are along the walls of the chart, either by sliding the device up the track quickly or by holding it in place at different heights to track the lines. This gives a sort of similar gameplay to Sound Voltex, requiring tracking of the lasers, so to speak, along with hitting the notes on the bottom of the machine. The game also had some other unique features that we wouldn't see until later in the Bemani series. For example, Otoiroha supported a feature allowing recording of gameplay and of a player camera, but the feature was never implemented before the game was cancelled. What's interesting is that after Otoiroha, we wouldn't see this feature again until Beatmania 2DX Cannonballers, where this feature was finally officially released. Interesting to see that feature first appear on a now cancelled game. There was also a few unique versus modes in Otoiroha that never saw the light of day. There was a 4-player cooperative play mode where every player would get a different chart, but at key points in the song, probably the chorus, everyone's charts would sync up in a feature known as sync time. There was even a planned 4v4 versus mode, though apparently very little was known about the details of that feature. That one surprises me a bit in particular because the Otoiroha machine appears quite large, and having 8 of those in one room would surely be a space hog. Also interestingly, the game seemed to have a bit of its difficulty fleshed out even at the time of this early test. The game had a difficulty range of 1 to 20, and even had a 19 in its test at JPO. I'd imagine they'd made quite a few charts already at the time of the game being cancelled if they were able to reveal the full number range this early on. So, it's time for a bit of a community side note. Something the arcade rhythm gaming community likes to do is make jokes about the machines that we play on. The easiest example of this is Mai Mai, Sega's circular standing rhythm game. Mai Mai is the washing machine game. That's what it looks like. There was even a washing machine related promotion for Mai Mai at one point, further solidifying the meme in the community. Now, you might see where I'm going with this. Otoiroha was the toilet game. I mean, think about it. A big white cabinet with a sort of lid opening shaped screen. Toilet game. I don't know how much stuff like this makes it to Konami, but this may have had a non-zero effect on the game. At least, I'd like to believe it did. Unfortunately, Otoiroha was quietly cancelled later in the same year. All of Otoiroha's character images and features for the eAmusement website were removed on January 31st, 2017, although the eAmusement page from the game's original reveal is still live, and you can go take a look at it for yourself if you want a bit of a time capsule. Otoiroha's exclusive songs ended up making their way into Reflect Beat and U-Beat as well, which often marks the sign of a game being out of production. That same year, the sound director Yoshihiko Koizuka, who curiously was also the sound director for Gitadora, claimed the game hadn't been cancelled, but the game hasn't been seen again since this claim. Most likely, either due to internal test data or other factors, the game never saw the light of day again. Seeing Konami try a game out that doesn't end up making it off the ground gives us some interesting insight into what they were thinking and trying around this time. As this series goes on, you'll probably come to notice that a lot of the cancellations and other rhythm games being killed off happened around this time. I actually believe this is around the time that Konami was starting to compete more directly with Sega, as this was around the time Chunodon was starting to gain a lot of traction and become very popular, which it still is today. Around this time, Konami was throwing a lot of things at the wall to see if they would stick and take some wind out of Sega's sails. And it looks like in this case, it didn't pay off. I can't say I'm too surprised the game was cancelled, what with the gameplay being amalgamates of existing games, but I do think the sliders may have had potential, and the overall look of the game was pretty interesting. It may not have made it far, but Otoiroha joins the ranks of dead rhythm games. Thanks for watching. Check out my Twitter and my Twitch, links are in the description below. You can also check out my Patreon if you want to support my content. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.